And public discussion, any? No public discussion? Okay, good. All right, we'll go right into the agenda then. We have a lot of things. Should be able to move through them. In pretty good shape. Everybody get the handouts?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to, first, before we start the meeting, under general discussion, to congratulate you on your retirement for all your years of dedication, and welcome to a full-time job at the Sewer Commission.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That's the best part I've been looking forward to. Thank you, David.
I'll second that motion.
Aye.
Have to be Barb's helper now. All right, thank you, Dave. Nice thought.
We know where to find you.
Oh, man, you do. Just look across the lake.
Yep.
Okay, first agenda item. I want to announce that we've discussed the outsourcing activity that we've been pursuing for a number of months now. I guess it's been since the FY14 planning. That was a big part of our budget plan, was to outsource, if we could, get the right contract and the right supplier at the right price. And we're very happy that we have been able to do that. So one of the things we'd like to do tonight is, I guess, two things. One is to introduce our new contractor for the project, and also make a motion to improve the contract so we can proceed with that. So what we have, the contractor here, we've selected Small Water Systems Services. Tonight the principals are here to join us, and we appreciate having them come introduce themselves, Debbie and Bruce Trumbull. Maybe before we do that, I'd like to do my own thanks here. This whole activity was pretty much coordinated and driven by Dave McDonald and Mike Nault here, and of course the whole committee had some play in it. But the key is a statement of work and deciding what was going to be quoted, and then going through the arduous process of interviewing everybody. And Dave and Mike did just an outstanding job on that, and I think we've ended up in a very, very good place because of that. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Debbie, Bruce, would you like to introduce yourself to our vast audience out in TV land?
TV land, yeah.
Maybe a little bit about your company and what the services are, how you're going to service.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for choosing us over some solid competitors for this very great opportunity to be the contractor for the town of Lunenburg Sewer Department. I know you'll be very happy with us, as I've told you, and I won't go on and on and on, like you know I can, but...
It's only a 2-hour show.
It's a 1-hour show. That we've been in business, in a couple of weeks, our 19th year begins, so we've been in business since 1995, and take the job very seriously. We we started off, one client at a time, and got to where we are today, and we're 15 employees strong, and looking for the next one already, so we always keep our eyes out for the next one, and we're 24/7, and very often it's Bruce, there's a call. Bruce, get up. And God bless him, he always gets up. Now we have enough people, he can say, all right, Tom, what are you doing? Al, what are you doing? And there's different. But for many years, it was Bruce. That was the guy that got up in the middle of the night, went out and saved the people, and stopped the flow of the wastewater, and get the water running again and all that. So I'm real excited about this. So I think I'll just hand it over to him now, because he'll make more sense than me. Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, we want to thank you all for choosing us. Goes without saying, we're very grateful. I think we've started a relationship that we worked through with some of the commissioners and some of the employees, and it's our job now to cement that down and to show you with our actions and what we do that you've made the right choice, which we think you have, and that we'll get that down firmly. A trust will be made between us, and you'll become more comfortable with us, and you'll be able to
That's what we want.
turn the town over to us with no misgivings. So that's pretty much our job now, is to go forward and prove to you guys that you've made the right decision. So and thank you again for the opportunity to let us try to do that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank
We're
you.
very happy
Thank
to,
you.
happy to
Nice
have you on board.
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Thank you.
So everybody got the contract in the package,
Yes.
as long as there's.
Hopefully, everybody's had a chance to review it. and-
Yep.
So I think unless there's any last-minute questions or concerns on the contract, accept a motion to approve the contract and sign it.
Mr. Chair, I put a motion that we accept the contract as written with Bruce and Debbie, and we can execute it tonight.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Yay.
You're on the clock.
And you might want to, it's effective August 1st.
You might be on the clock again later
Very
tonight.
soon.
So August 1st is my birthday.
Yeah, it's happy
Is it?
birthday,
Well,
Debbie.
there you go.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Very nice present. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes.
the contract becomes effective August 1st, and the first contract's for 11 months. We're all squared away with that, right?
Fiscal year, understood.
Fiscal years, yes. Okay.
That's great.
Debbie has worked with a bunch of municipalities. It wasn't a big surprise, so that was lucky. Thank you.
And happy birthday, by the way. I hope you don't get called out at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Try that again. Okay, then.
All right.
I'm going to sign this.
Sign away.
We'll be in touch with Barbara and Jack tomorrow about the changing of the guard and how we're going to go about that. And
Yeah, my understanding is there'll be a week, essentially a week
Sign it.
of overlap and
Contract.
transition, Barb, is
Right.
that the case?
Yep.
Starting
So
the
they can
first?
Shadow.
So is it the first, when is the first Thursday?
First through the 9th.
Through the 9th, okay,
Yeah.
through the end of next week.
Right.
Great, very good, okay. As part of this step into this new world, we've, therefore, as we had said before, the sewer tech position that's been held by Corey Dowd is no longer required. But we do want to make it very clear that Corey was a great employee and a great supporter. We've had no problems when Corey was on board, and I'm sure we'll have none now. but
No,
we
he
do-
did an excellent job.
a very, very good job and a tough job. It was a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day job, and that's why we had to take a different direction, because that's just not a sustainable situation for the town or for Corey. So we want to thank Corey very, very much for his dedication and keeping the system going with virtually no problems at all. We drafted a letter of appreciation for Corey, and certainly, I'm sure we all want to wish Corey very, very well in his continued
Absolutely.
life.
Mike needs to sign that. That's the contract.
You gotta catch it on the way back.
There you go. Good. I think on those issues, I think that covers it. Barb, anything else we need to,
Sign this.
relative to contract or
Nope, I think that's
Corey? Okay,
it.
good.
This is one you're on. You're on
Already
this
on
one.
that one.
so
You're
we're
signed
good.
up.
so I can go to that steak dinner each promise?
That's
All right, celebrate.
Date night.
Never miss a chance. Thank you very much for coming,
Don't-
and we will
don't keep
see
him
you
out too
soon.
late, though.
Thank you,
Don't
Bruce.
keep him out too late. He might have to work tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Guys, thank
Oh,
you very
not
much
yet.
for...
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Thursday
See you
night.
later.
Thanks, Deb.
Mike needs to sign.
Mike. Okay, the next agenda item is, we were given a notice of petition by the town of Leominster, which is where most of our sewerage is sent to Leominster, some is sent to Fitchburg, but Leominster is the bulk of the things, and we have intermunicipal agreements with both Leominster and Fitchburg. Leominster has just put in place a notice of petition. Consistent with the IMAs, we are obliged to implement the equivalent of this petition. And what it is, in just layman's terms, without all the legal, is essentially what they're doing is, in order to address the I&I, which is infiltration and inflow, and this is the water that goes into the systems and has to be processed just like septic, but it's water from runoff or perhaps illegal sump pumps, or other ways that, or drains. But it's water that gets into the system that is not actually from septic use. And it's not good because it costs just as much to process that. So both Leominster, Fitchburg, every municipality is, it's in all of our interest to reduce that because it costs us all money. So what Leominster has done is implemented this petition, which essentially establishes, through a fee basis, a fund with which to use to identify and resolve these I&I situations, whether they be busted pipes or people doing things they shouldn't. No matter what the cause, it always costs money to get rid of these. It even costs money just to find the sources of these. Could involve things like cammering lines, actually sending cameras up sewer lines to see where where water is getting in the system that shouldn't. So we all want to get rid of this, and it does cost money. So what happens here is that Leominster has just implemented this process where they essentially set up a bank, so to speak, and the revenues that go into that bank are based on new users. So going forward, any new users, water put into the Leominster system will have an upfront surcharge of $2 per gallon. We need to accept this. We could, I believe, and I'll open this up for discussion. We may need to do a little bit more homework, but I don't think the dollar rate is fixed, but we are required now to do this. And the goal is really by reducing this unwanted water, to reduce, for every new gallon that goes in, to have a goal of reducing the unwanted water by 4 gallons. And that would, so now you not only break even, but you actually can add more use without adding more cost.
We don't have a
really the
choice
goal.
in this.
We do not have a choice in implementing this process. I think
What's
we may
this
have
do
a
to,
choice
what's
in the
this do to
dollar
our
figure.
rate increase?
It's not based on, it's not a rate increase.
I know, but we just did our rates.
Yes. There's no connection to rate.
Okay.
It's a.
Is it a one-time
it's a
charge?
one-time upfront is my understanding.
It's
So-
assessed at the time of the connection charge.
So if it's this is an example, a 500 gallon per day connection, which might be a normal 3-bedroom house or so, would have if we adopt a $2 fee, would be another $1,000 upfront charge. We would put that in a separate account, and then we would build that account to the point where we can go do some of the things that we've been working on. Fortunately,
Yeah.
we've done a lot of work
Metering.
and identified what the next step might be, and that's why I'm aware of cammering, because that is one of the potential next steps to identify these things, but that's quite expensive. I think we identified that perhaps the next step here might have been as much as a $60,000 investment to go
Yeah.
do some cammering of lines to identify the sources, not even to remediate them yet, but, so this is costly work.
Investigate.
So building up this bank is a good approach to it. And again, the goal is to not add new requirements to the systems. It's to get rid of I&I 441.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I just want to reiterate that the rates aren't going up. It has nothing to do with the existing systems we have now. This is only for new connections going forward as of, I think, next month. Is that correct?
Exactly right. So what I would suggest, and is that we consider a motion so that we could have some discussion on implementation. As Butch says, we do need to pass this. We need to
Yeah,
pass this
it's-
type of a thing. but we may want to have some discussion or debate on the dollar fee, because my understanding from legal is that
I just wanted
it's
to make
not
sure it
fixed at
wasn't gonna affect where we just had a rate increase.
Right, yeah. So as Dave said, it's just only going forward in new customers.
Mr. Chair, I put a motion out there that we adopt the certificate that we got from the town clerk, the city clerk in Leominster in regards to the bank, dated June 25th.
We kind of need to do.
Does that sound like a reasonable motion, just to do it?
To accept them in totality?
Mm-hmm.
And then the sewer bank thing, the amount can be dealt with as a separate
Well-
motion?
Yeah,
We're gonna have discussion.
yeah, my proposal is that we get this motion on the table, and then we'll have discussion, and we can discuss how to, if we want to use that rate or different rate,
Right.
or determine the
Right.
rate in the future.
I had it as like 3. There's 2 different subsections to the Leominster Sewer Ordinance, so what I would propose, and I did run it through council, the first one just dealt with the CWMP, that we won't introduce new sources, and it's kind of, it's a done deal anyway between their CWMP and ours. We have the allocation, that's not going to change, and Roger was not worried about that one. That just had to be stated for the purpose of the state requirements. But each one is its own section in their ordinance, so I thought we could accept it maybe one at a time.
Well, what I was doing is put a motion out there for the letter that we received from Leominster on June 25th,
This
which
would
has
help.
paragraph 12 and paragraph 13. So
Yeah.
if we open up the discussion, we can knock them off like that.
Okay.
But it's still one document that we received.
Right.
So
Okay.
we should be discussing this document.
Pass one down to David.
So do I have a second to the motion?
Second for discussion.
All in favor? I'm
Aye.
sorry.
Whoa.
This is discussion. All in favor of discussion. So, so maybe we can go into the 3 different things to see if we would proceed. Just comprehensive waste management. I was just reading the first part here, and I don't know, I get maybe a little hung up on the language. Let me read it out loud so people at home or anyone read as best I can. So in section, well, let me back up. Leominster Sewer Ordinance voted into place by the Leominster City Council on 6/24/13, section 21.47.4.12, as a condition of the comprehensive wastewater management plan. Land use control measures have been adopted to ensure no additional sewerage is added into the collection system. All co-permittees listed in the City of Leominster's National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit are also required through their intermunicipal agreements to comply with the requirements of the CWMP and corresponding land use controls, which is Lunenburg. The only thing that I'm trying to understand, and maybe I'm taking too literally, Barbara, and I don't know if you talked to the legal, this says no additional sewerage is added into the collection system.
That means we can't put anybody else in, if you read that
so-
that way.
Right, it's controlled by their CWMP, whatever their master plan is in place,
Yeah.
and then trickle down ours that's controlled by the Leominster. So it's just saying that beyond the CWMP, there's no one's allowed to put more in. Both master plans deal with enough usage,
Yeah, okay, so
not
the
planning.
CWMP,
as the control.
they haven't reached the limit yet.
Right, right.
Right, okay.
Between the two, with theirs, they're not allowed to put any more in. That's their master plan.
So it's like our, I mean, because, and I got to believe that, because our limit with Leominster was 500,000 or something
Yes.
like that, and we're significantly below that.
Yeah.
And that 500,000 must be passed into their CWMP. So as
Right.
long as we comply with our 500,000,
Correct.
then we would not expect to, we'd be bound to that 500,000, which we already are
Right.
bound to, anyway.
Right.
Mr. Chair, that's the way I'm reading it. It's going back to our contract that we have at Leominster. So, I mean,
So it basically says we're not going to exceed what's in our agreement.
but just for sake of argument, I know we're way below the capacity for Leominster right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's 500,000. I think we're only at 180, maybe 200,000,
We're approaching 100, so, and we have the
100,000.
allocation of 500.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chair, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the second one. Or, do we, Barbara, you suggesting that we vote on one of these independently?
Yep, that would be
Okay.
just simple.
It should be voted individually.
Right.
So if I could get a
You want a motion?
revised motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we acknowledge and recognize the Leominster Sewer Ordinance 21-47-4-12
All in favor?
as outlined below.
Or second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. So now the second. Just read it. The Sewer Commission acknowledges the following amendment to the Leominster Sewer Ordinance voted into place by the Leominster City Council on 6/24/13, Section 21.47.4.13. A sewer bank will be implemented based upon the sewer remediation performance to date and requires 4 gallons per day of infiltration inflow, I&I, to be removed for every 1 gallon per day of new wastewater added to the system.
Mr. Chair, that I have a question with.
Yes, Dave.
I think we got to clarify that.
What are we gonna clarify?
Yeah, I'm a little confused myself that
The sewer blank, will-
once we meet our goal, then
yes,
that's the clarification I would want.
that's what I'm assuming, once we meet the goal. If we're not meeting it now, I mean,
What, the 500,000?
no, the sewer bank will implement based upon the sewer remediation performed to date requires 4 gallons per day with infiltration flow of I&I to be removed for every 1 gallon per day of new wastewater added to the system.
Yeah, I'm, Barb, you know, because it's not clear if that means once we hit the 500 or
This is,
effective immediately.
this is effective immediately. And I've spoken with Roger Brooks from Leominster a couple times on this, and he's not saying necessarily how it's quantified. The most important thing is that there is there is a sewer bank put in place to work on I&I.
Right.
It does not sound like a very strict, there's no special legislation, there's no monitoring, there's no anything. It's just the fact that we collect that money up front based on their proposed flow, and then we have that capital to use
Well, it
to
makes
try
sense
to
to have a bank
remove
for
I&I.
future problems.
Right, right, it takes care of the I&I, but there's no, this is, we're supposed to start I&I, removal as soon as possible. And basically, we don't have the sewer bank, so, I mean, we've got a little, I don't know, whether we have time or not. But the point is more with Leominster, that we accept the idea that we'll collect this money, create a sewer bank, and begin to work on the I&I. I have no idea of any process as far as quantifying and
I guess, Mr. Chair, that's where I have the question, and I understand what we're trying to do, but we've been working on I&I since I've been here, and I think everyone on this board has been working on the I&I. So how do you quantify taking out 4 gallons of I&I for every gallon used? If you have a tight system like we have now, granted, we do have I&I situations, but how do you justify that? I guess is the word I'm going to say. Now, again, with every new connection, we're using the PCV pipes and all that, but am I reading that right?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, being awfully literal here, the concern I have is that if you take this literally and it doesn't and it's effective immediately, then we would need to demonstrate I&I removal before we could allow anyone else to connect. And that's not realistic. Before we can add
Unless we show them,
new wastewater added to the system.
unless we show them the work that we've been doing on the system already with Weston Sampson, all the reports and the smoke
We have
testing.
to, and maybe we could, maybe we could show that we've already reduced I&I, because I think we have.
I think we have too. If you go back to the meters, the temporary meters we put up, we have reduced I&I.
Right.
That we eliminated it, no, but we're reducing it. But is that how they're gonna judge us, or, I think the question is how they're gonna come back and say, you know, you did the 4 gallons for every gallon going in.
Yeah, we need to assume we have to demonstrate, with data. We have to demonstrate that we've done that at some point. And that's really what we're signing up for, is to really do that. Maybe we've got a little jump on it, and maybe we've already, covered some new use.
Yes.
But it's gonna take a while to build this bank and have
You're gonna
a
have
significant impact.
Fitchburg will do the same thing, you wait and see.
Probably.
I mean, I don't have a problem, Mr. Chair, with the paragraph. It's just, if we adopt it, which we're going to have to adopt anyways, I just want to make sure that we do it the right way as far as verification of the water. It's nice to have a bank for $1 for every gallon, but we got to pay our engineers $5 to find out what's going on. So I think that's the only concern I have.
Mm-hmm.
So if I understand this correctly, any new customer from here forward is gonna be paying an extra $2 per gallon, which they're estimating to be $220 per bedroom per year. So, and that's gonna go into a fund for us to research better.
Yeah, and I think that's all.
So,
And
I
it's
think
not
that's
gonna,
all
it's not
good.
gonna, right, so it's not gonna affect current fees, it's just gonna be anybody
Yeah.
new. Where,
That'd be a new,
We're talking about
a new
this.
one-time
I mean, if it-
connection fee. Part of, additional fee,
Yeah.
connection.
I mean, saving money is always a good thing, so, but it's just,
Would that be a one-time fee? A
no.
one-time fee, right?
Yes,
Is it?
yeah, this is just at connection.
Yeah, it's not every
The
month.
Title
it's
V
a-
numbers based on
Okay, it's a
their
per
proposed
gallon.
flow. Yep. On Title V flows, which is how we also base our connection charge on new connections. And so a 3-bedroom would have 330 gallons per day.
Okay, I see, so it's,
It would
it's
be
an additional fee per bedroom.
One time.
$220 per bedroom.
Right.
And a one-time fee. Okay. I guess that was my confusion, so
But I think, Mr. Chair, we're looking at paragraph 2, because paragraph 3 is another animal in itself. But paragraph 3 answers paragraph 2.
Oh, you think so? So let me read paragraph 3 then.
Or paragraph, the last one.
Paragraph 3 is how we're gonna pay for it, isn't it?
So it doesn't affect our flow at all?
No.
Other than we're putting money aside to,
To repair.
okay.
The way this page is written that I put out, it really, and again, I worked with council on this. The commission recognizes that we are bound to these terms per the IMA with Leominster, and request a motion to comply with the terms of the Leominster Sewer Ordinance 2147-4.13. So, I don't know if we could always say, we understand that we need to follow it per the IMA and are bound to the terms of it, and then just leave the details in 3, maybe as far as the how-tos until we get more information.
Well, this affects all the people that have, in the first phase, that didn't hook up yet.
Yes,
They'll be
anybody that
charged
hasn't
when they
paid
hook
us.
up, so
Any new user.
Any new user.
we might want to make that clear to them, and you might get them to hook up sooner.
Well, I think it's too late to hook up sooner.
Yeah.
I think
We
we're gonna
adopt
vote
this
this
tonight.
tonight.
That's it.
Mr. Chair, if I can, looking at the lawyer's opinion letter, again, one-time fee at the hookups. So if we keep our fees presently the way they are, and then next to that, we have to put a surcharge for this. So if you're hooking up, our connection fees are $2,100 or whatever they are, and then there'll be a surcharge from the city of Leominster for the bank. Not from the city of Leominster, but
Yeah, I was gonna- okay,
it's
yeah,
going to be
yeah, clearing that
it's
it
going to
was-
be it's going to go through Fitchburg too, I'm sure. But there'll be a bank surcharge fee one time.
Yes.
So the people at home shouldn't worry that because if they're going to hook up tomorrow, they're going to be spending a $2 an extra gallon going down. I mean, if you brush your teeth, you're going to get killed. You know, so
Yeah, this is for sure a
Some brush them
one-time,
too long.
when you hook up, and it's gonna be on the order of, what did you say,
220 per bedroom, basically.
20 per bedroom, so
Yep.
$660 for a three-bedroom house,
Correct.
one time.
one time, yeah, with the construction costs or the hookup fees.
Right.
Yep. Again, that's if I'm reading the lawyer's letter. The lawyer letter is pretty self-explanatory on all this.
Okay, so, why don't we take a motion on the second part first and get that out of the way?
David already made the motion. Was waiting for a second.
Well, we're in
Second for
discussion now.
discussion.
Do we need a vote?
Well, the
You-
first motion was modified, and we are, and to
We
what
voted
we just
on
did, and we voted on it.
Yeah, we should make a motion for paragraph two.
So we should make a motion for the paragraph 2.
Jay,
I make a motion that we acknowledge and recognize Leominster Sewer Ordinance 21.47.4.13.
Perfect, thank you. Second?
aye,
Second it.
All in favor?
aye.
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 Okay, now the third area basically deals with what that fee is. Leominster has a $2 per gallon, which, as we said, equates to $110 per bedroom in a house, and for commercial or industrial, it's whatever the gallonage is determined. So any discussion on the amount of the,
I don't think we can discuss. They said it.
no, we could,
Mr. Chair, I
Can
see,
do more.
I can see why Leominster might be going with $2 a gallon, but because we have to pay the Leominster and Fitchburg rates, I would like to see it $1 a gallon in Lunenburg because of the rates the way they are, but that would be me. I don't know if we have to go to this and put in the 2.
um,
That was just.
Not
Again,
quite sure I understood.
we're in discussion now, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
So you're saying make it you're proposing a $3 per gallon?
No, $1 a gallon instead of the 2.
Instead of two, he wants them to give just one, but
Well,
in the top sentence, it said that's a
It's based
set
on
by the
rate.
state environmental code.
Yeah.
No, the 2 is set by
The-
Leominster.
Yeah, the 2 is not,
there.
is not required. But let's make one thing clear, because maybe I'm the one that's confused here. Let's say it's $2. That $2 stays here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying we don't need $2 to stay here?
I wouldn't take the $2 in Lunenburg. I would adopt $1 to follow this guideline, considering that we just raised the connection fees 30 days ago.
Yeah, but it only affects
But that-
new users. It's only a one-time fee.
That's right.
This is,
There's nothing to do with the rates.
That's right. But the connection fees we just increased as well.
But that's a one-time fee also.
That's right.
and that's because our costs increased.
Yeah.
So that's not, so and the whole point of this is to build a bank so that we've got some money to go reduce
Yeah.
INI.
Right.
No, I understand. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Now, if it's $2 across the board, then you go with the $2. But I'm just saying is that's what I would look at.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still not following the thought process of having it be less than,
Our connection fees just went up from, what, 1,800,
60 to
1760 to 20.
2150 or 2050? What's that connection fee, Barb?
1760?
But
For a
it's going up
three-bedroom to a 2250.
2250.
No, again, that's because we have a
Because-
balanced budget for the first time in the sewer commission.
Well, and also because Fitchburg's going to charge us 2,000, so.
Well,
Yeah.
but again, we have a balanced budget. My thought is that if we went up $1 now for the bank to keep it, just because of the rates, we just increase the rates. My thinking, that's all. It's just my opinion.
Okay, yeah.
No, I would stick with the $2.
I would agree to stay with the two.
I just, it reads very confusing, because it's, they're setting it, but then it says within ordinance of that title.
This is not
That's
them
right.
said, this was our wording or the
Oh,
council's
this was our
wording.
wording, okay.
This is, their wording was only a sewer bank will be implemented, that's theirs.
Okay.
Council,
The 2 gallons per day based on rates set by state environmental code.
the
Title
2 gallons
5.
per day, and then based on rates, it's maybe not set by, but it's
that's
against
the
the
part,
rates
right, yeah.
set. It's the state environmental,
Well, when you say rate, because you're using rate in two different ways.
yeah, yeah.
Right, it's very confusing the way it
This,
reads.
this is the state environmental code.
Okay.
CMR 310
Yeah,
CMR.
310, right.
Yep, and it talks about each type of establishment and the flows for each one of those.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so it's $2 per gallon per day.
Based on
Gallons
that.
per day, based on this breakdown on this environmental code. It's not, the rate is not set by the state environmental code.
Okay.
Okay, I know, it,
Yeah, it's,
No, that confused me.
yeah.
and,
$2?
$2 was a Lemonster, is a Lemonster amount.
That's their number.
And council didn't seem to think it was necessary for us to go one way or the other. He just said $2, and then, you know, as you'll see further on, with any kind, as soon as Lemonster goes up, we go up. So he,
We gotta match them.
yeah. So he didn't have any issue with charging.
We don't have to match them.
No, wouldn't
I mean-
match what? We
If
don't
somebody
have
just
to,
use the match rate. If they go up, we go up. I mean, that's not,
we don't have to, but council thought that might be just, it's easier than having the same discussion, just if they have to raise that, if they raise that charge.
see, my feeling, we need to get this started. We need to get the bank in place and
Yeah.
started. But what the rate is, with more homework, should be based, in my mind, on what the costs are. right? I mean, we've got to identify how much is it going to cost us to go get X number of gallons out of INI. If we're projecting, we're going to have so many new users, so many new gallons, we got to remove 4 gallons of INI for each gallon. How much is it going to cost us? And that's where we got to get the bank to. That's what we got to fund. So-
Yeah, but I don't want,
That's-
then we
that's-
shouldn't cut the bank short now.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. My feeling on the whole rate thing is Leominster has done some homework and has a rate.
I'm sure they have a reason why they come to the $2.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it might apply to us or not, but it might be best to get started but with the $2. But then, as we get into it and we look at, we get some of this information and we say, oh, man, we need $200,000 to go make a significant impact, we may have to come back to this rate. And we may have to adjust this rate up or down depending on, on where that bank needs to be. So my sense is to get going with the simple, what Leominster has, and then whether it be 6 months, a year, or when we're into the whole INI calculations and costs, we can revisit the rate.
Like, Mr. Chair, like Butch has said, we don't know how Leominster came with the $2, but
Right.
that they have a lot more citizens in Leominster than Lunenburg. I mean, we have approximately 700
Must have a
customers.
dollar amount in their mind that they want to get to.
Exactly, right.
But the I&I problem in any sewer system, not just Fitchburg or Leominster, is not going to be done on this bank. This bank is there to accumulate
Assist
funds.
us.
But in our budgets that we worked on, we do have budgets to control some of that as well. But reading the attorney's letter, he also recommends to go with Leominster to $2. I'm just saying, just want to think about it. How did Leominster come up with the $2, and where is that money going to go? Because their $2 in Leominster is not going to solve the world either. I mean, it's, you know what I mean, on new
But we're gonna
connections.
charge
Yeah,
us,
that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm sure they did something, but And we need to do this, we need to do the same analysis, because we, you know, I'm sure it's a function of how old are the pipes, how much I&I do they have, you know, I mean, there's a lot of system-specific variables, right?
I'm not arguing the price, I just like the commission to look at us versus Leominster if we're trying to compare it. Leominster may have 30 new connections this year, we may have 3. So $600 is not going to affect us this year.
Right.
I don't know, if you have another one of these developments come on, yeah, you'll make some money from the developers. But all I'm trying to say is weigh it between Fitchburg and Leominster, percentage-wise. We have a lot less customers than Leominster, and Leominster sewer rates are wherever they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
They have
there's,
a lot more pipe and, like,
well, I don't know how many connection fees they have in Leominster either. I mean, there's construction going on, there's expansion, but, you know.
right.
You're not going to get rich, or the town's not going to make a lot of money,
No, it's just a little cushion.
you know.
No, it helps.
But I would go with what the lawyer recommended, which is the $2. I'd just like to know why. I mean, how'd they come up with $2?
Somebody,
So I think as we go forward, we can
$2
find that out.
sounds good.
We should dig into it. So is that a motion, Dave?
Well, are there any more questions? I think the paragraph, the way it's written, is pretty good. I mean, I understand what they're doing here. But like I said, maybe someday in the future, we can come back and find out why Leominster did charge the $2 on what basis they did. But, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we implement the sewer bank per Leominster Sewer Ordinance 21-47-4-13 and adopt the sewer bank fee equal to the Leominster current amount and allow for the automatic adjustments to this fee based on Leominster's future adjustments.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I
Should,
just have one discussion point. I'm not sure whether I agree or not with the very last piece with the automatic adjustment to this fee.
Well, I don't see why not.
What if they cut it in half?
And we cut it in half.
My concern again is that we don't understand what Leominster did some calculations, we've done none, is that it would be good for us to
Want to table it
understand.
until further?
I'd like to, I'm proposing that we just delete
investigation?
the last automatic, adjustment, and that we do our own homework and determine what the fee should be.
Well, not being at
Two
that
or
meeting,
one.
you're not gonna be able to duplicate what went on at that meeting unless you talk to the ones that proposed the
Yeah,
$2.
which we can, I mean, I think we need to do that, but I think we need to do our own homework. And
Mr. Chair, can I reread the motion then? That's a good point. That's very good. I'll make the motion that we implement the sewer banks per Leominster Sewer Ordinance 21-47-4-13 and adopt the sewer bank fee equal to Leominster's current amount, period.
I'll second that too.
Any discussion on that?
Nope.
No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.
Good.
Thank you, Barb. That's good homework. And I'll work with Barb to get with Leominster, find out what their calculation was, the starting point for us.
We may find out that we should be going to $40 again. I don't know.
That's my point.
It's
You know,
just-
that's why
to me,
this is
it's
a good
going-
starting point, and we got a stake in the
To
ground.
me, the money's going in the bank. It's just, I don't know.
Got a short end of a stick.
Yeah.
Okay. Lunenburg Village, 40B. Okay.
Take all the room you want.
We ready for the next agenda item?
What's next?
No?
It is.
It is.
Into my little order here.
Uh-oh. All right, and we're there now.
All right.
So this is, I guess this is mostly for information, because I don't think there's anything new before us on this, is there, Barb? Just while you think, the Lunenburg Village 40B is going before, or has gone before the Zoning Board of Appeals to modify the number of homes that they're putting in from 64 to 80, I believe is the number.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, and the public hearing is on August 28th, actually.
Ah, good. Now, this is the development, just the relation to us and why it's partially important, is that this is the Whalum area, and we were, the privilege fee was discounted by the affordable units. And I'm not assuming it's got to be, I think it's by law, that if they go up to 80, they now need to have more affordable units.
Right, 25%.
So I assume they're going to hold at 25%, so they'll now go up from 16 to 20 affordable units. So the privilege fees for those additional units would be lower. However, the net is an increase still, because there's more homes, so there's more privilege fees overall, right?
And more sewer usage.
And more usage. So
Help us with our bills.
I think it's all good for us.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes,
I think the zoning boards of appeal, if they approve it, you're right, it'll be good. Keeping in mind that 4 of them are going to be 40Bs, so those will still be at the discounted rate, but since we raised our rates, would that be at the discounted new rate, is the only question I would have.
I think,
It's the privilege fee that is discount. It is, they either pay it or they don't, based on whether it's an affordable unit or not.
right.
And that doesn't change. That's still that 11.5 number.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the connection fee has gone up, and that'll be
Right.
more for everything.
that's correct.
But
They'll
the
still have
privilege,
to
but the
pay
privilege
the
is
extra
what.
$2, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's my understanding. It's affect anything after today.
Mr. Chair, I don't have a problem with it, it's up to the zoning board.
Yeah, good. Else, any more discussion on that?
Yes, I am actually waiting on council for, because this is a 40B, it also has impact, what we just passed with the INI fee and the sewer bank has impact possibly on both this Lunenburg Village and also Hollis Hills, so we'll find out more. Council's going to get back.
Why, okay, so maybe, I mean, my assumption, not necessarily the right one, is that now that we've taken the vote on this new fee, everything after today, any new use after today pays that fee.
True.
And whether it's 40B or not is
Right.
immaterial.
We have the decision written already predating this latest vote, so I just need to check with council. We've already approved what their connection fees would be, their privilege fees, and I just have to confirm that when we pass a new fee after that decision date, that we can go back and say, oh,
Mr. Chair, I think you're correct on the 64 units. So he's going from 64 to 80, different project, different funding. So I would agree with you in principle that on the connection fees for the 60 houses that he proposed is a done deal. But anything over that, if he wants to put in more houses, then
Right.
I would
that'll be after the date.
assume that he's paying the new fees.
Yeah.
Because he would have to pull.
There's a big impact with Hollis Hills.
And I agree.
But we
Well, they
never
haven't
approved
built
anything with
permits.
Hollis Hills. So why would there be any impact on Hollis Hills?
That's right.
Right now, they don't want to pay any connection
But
fees.
I'm saying, it's not like we approved some fee for Hollis Hills.
Right. I'm just saying that that's still out with council. That has to be addressed. 40Bs are different animals.
Why?
Yeah.
Depends on when their plans were approved.
But that, I can understand if there's if there's an approved plan and approved fees and everything's agreed, and then some new fee comes up, then council needs to do, but that's independent of 40B. What I want to, because the reason I'm so hung up on this, Barb, is, this is not something that's targeted at 40Bs or anything else. This
Oh,
is
no.
just a policy
Yeah.
for any new use.
Oh, no, I know.
Right? So I
Right.
don't want anybody getting the impression that we're doing something different
no.
with 40Bs and anything else.
No, I'm just saying. Both of them have been before the town previous to this vote.
Yeah, and one
That's
was
all.
approved, and maybe that one has to be grandfathered.
Right.
The other was
Is-
not. So there's
Is
no
it-
grandfathering into something that wasn't approved. Now, if the courts tell us what to do, they're going to tell us what to do. That has nothing to do with any of this.
But he's going to have to go from new permitting for the 14 new houses, or
Right.
he's got to show drawing. This is a whole
Well, they
kind of
haven't
a
pulled any permits yet,
It's
have
all a
they?
new ballgame.
it's a whole new ballgame.
So,
Right,
yeah, I don't think any of them have pulled permits. They haven't started building anything.
right.
So I think it would all fall under the new fee.
Yeah, I would think.
I think any new
But-
permitting would be under the
Isn't-
new guidelines and costs anyhow.
So
Should
that's, I mean, this Lunenburg Village is a good test of how,
Right. how it will be applied.
Is it something that from the past, or is this now applied or not?
Right.
And the new fees that we passed and everything else?
Yep.
Now, Mr. Chair, just for, not to bounce off the subject, but you got Emerald Place putting in some new units, but those have already been approved, permitted. They're putting in new units over there like all the time, if I'm not mistaken. That's part of that plan, though. That's all been permitted, paid,
Yeah, but they're
done.
not new additions. They're just
New units that
new
have
units
been,
bringing their
have been approved,
right,
yeah.
that already been
So
approved.
they would probably pay the old rates because it's already been, in fact, they may have already paid some of
Well,
them.
they've already paid, right?
Who is, oh, I missed who the
Well,
development was.
they added a couple, didn't they?
Emerald Place?
Is Emerald
Yes,
Place-
they have already paid all their connection fees upfront.
But the project on Whalen, I mean, he wants to add, that's a whole new little project that he's gonna be doing
Okay.
You mean the one right on the lake?
on Whalen Road.
So just to be clear for myself and anyone who's listening, Emerald Place has paid all their connection fees already up front.
Right.
So this doesn't apply to them unless they come back and increase the number of units or something like that. But otherwise, Emerald Place is done, not in question. But
Right.
Lunenburg Village, because there is some prior discussion and quotes, so to speak, council needs to just see if these new fees would apply. Okay. Good. Sunset Ave, is that next on your agenda?
Yes.
Yes, thanks.
Just pasted a little off, that's all.
So Sunset Ave Extension, this is a good news story, I think. Things are moving forward with doing that extension, and the next step in the process was to apply for the state revolving funds loan. And in order to do that, we have to submit a PEF determination to start that process for applying for those funds. At our last meeting, we had gotten a quote from Weston Sampson to do that submittal. And subsequently, Barb has solicited and got a quote from Wright Pierce. Actually, two quotes. One to do the Sunset extension only, which came in at $2,500. And then one, because we had discussed while we're doing this, maybe we should also consider rolling into this project, or at least taking a look at it, Pratt Street. And Wright Pierce said that they would do both of those for us for a total of $2,900. So I would open that to discussion to the board here of, both issues, what we want to proceed. I think we all want to proceed with the application, so I
Did
think that's a
Pratt
given.
Street get enough,
And,
they were waiting to get enough people that wanted it,
yeah, good.
to get
good
their
point.
right percentage up.
Yeah.
Sunset did.
So do we want to approve something that's not, we don't know it's going to even be coming before
Yeah,
us?
yeah, so Sunset, just again, for, in case there's anyone out there, Sunset Ave exceeded the two-thirds requirement with people, so that's clean and clear. Pratt Street has not, and I'm not sure that, all due diligence has been done to try to secure the two-thirds.
And it's not on the agenda either.
Well, I've been doing other things, so I had not sent out the letter to Pratt. So we went ahead and got a quote for it.
Well, I know, I
and-
just would have a hard time approving something
Right,
when we don't even know if they're going to want it approved.
right.
So I agree. The question is, for an additional $400, we could at least take it to that next step.
Well, that's
And-
great, but we should make sure they're going to come in. Otherwise, it's an additional 400, we're not,
Yeah, my feeling, but I think you're exactly right, Bush. My feeling is that
Short money,
it's more of a
though.
question to us, I think.
yeah.
Do we want to really make the commitment to do what you're saying? As a commission, do we want to make the commitment to go try to get the required number to
Pratt
pull in
Street.
Pratt Street? So it would be, I think it would be taken upon us, the responsibility.
Well, it would be nice
to
to get
wisely
it both done
invest
at the
that
same
$400.
time. It makes sense
It
there,
seems like it
money-wise.
would, it seems like it would, and this process would help us know that. Matter of fact, doing this application would tell us that. We don't 100% know right now without doing
The
it.
SRF funding?
Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I don't know. I said street, but
That's street.
it's street.
Pratt Street.
Mr.
Pratt
Chair,
Street.
if
Simple
I
and
can,
short, 8-inch gravity sewer extension.
we know Sunset, we're all set, so that's $2,500. I totally agree, and I think we've been trying to do that, and I want to thank the people of Lunenburg for coming forward to try to solve this stuff. We all know Pratt Street is in dire need of a sewer. Now, if we had to go back to it a year from now, it's going to cost us another $2,500 to do that. For $400, it's a steal. We can put it in, and like I said, if we have to go door to door and knock on the doors to try to convince the people to tie in, and a lot of them have already expressed some interest to Bob, if I'm not mistaken, in the Pratt Street area. It's an area that is needed, and for a $400 investment, even if we don't do it, it would be nice to do the project with it, but if we don't, at least the engineering's done for $400 versus $25.
My feeling.
Yeah, it'd be good information to have.
I kind of agree with that if we go revisit it, it's gonna cost us a lot more than the 400, and it is an area that needs it, so it does make sense, in my opinion.
But I think, Mr. Chair, if we do this, we should also let the DPW director know that we're going to be actively looking to do that area and try to get the citizens over there to sign up.
Right.
But I think I think the price is very good.
So we need a motion.
I do need a motion.
So we'd make the motion that we approve the $2,900 fee to Wright Pierce for the PEF application. Is that what it is? Application for Pine Grove, Sunset Ave area and Pratt Street.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Discussion?
The only question I have is, once this is approved, we would pay them the $2,900, and this gets officially the ball rolling. So this is exciting news for the sewer commission and these people in this area. So I totally agree with this.
Yes. Yeah, no, this is exciting. I think and this would be, I think the due date on this was like the end of August?
Yeah, the end of
Yeah,
End of
August.
August. So yeah, this is
29th.
It's kind of hard to get excited about sewer, guys. Just let you know, but this is exciting because I know people have problems over there.
I went on my house on Middle Street.
This is
Did it?
a good excited.
Yeah, 6 apartments without sewer. Me
So,
tell you, you get
all-
excited when you hook that pipe back up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Beautiful. Okay, Lancaster Ave Extension.
Mostly just, it's more of an update, just that it has proceeded. They've got the lines in the road. And I just wanted to put it out there that we hadn't had any movement on it for quite a while, so I just put it on the agenda just to show. I've contacted Bob Proctor just because I've heard he's doing a lot of the home connections, just that we need to start the process of permits to connect, but
Mr. Chair, if I could, I
Yes.
talked to Mr. John Elliott from P&E Construction on that project. He's supposed to be finishing up within this week or next week. I kind of gave him my advice that it'd be nice to clean it up, get the grass seed in there. So I know he told me that he assured me he's going to do that. And like Barbara said, I know Mr. Proctor's doing some of the E1 hookups. But Mr. Chair, if I could, a lot of people were asking me about that. And again, that's something that, thanks for everyone for coming forward with it. A lot of people thought it was water pipes going in there just because of the 2-inch pipes. A lot of people didn't know it was a sewer project. But again, that's an area that needs it. I was talking with some of the citizens that live on the area, and I thank them all for joining together as a group and getting that done. That's a good, nice project.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it's very good.
It increased the values of their houses too, so it's a good deal all the way around for them.
Yep, it's excellent.
I see some piles of loom down there. so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
must be
looks like they're getting ready to top it off.
Some grass, yeah.
Be good. Okay, unless there's anything else on Lancaster, we'll go on to illegal connections.
We're gonna do an executive tonight.
We weren't planning
don't
on it.
believe
I
so.
think, I'm not sure we
We've
posted
got
it.
something for executive on illegal connections.
Did we post it? I don't think we
We
posted an
didn't.
executive
There's a whole,
session.
it's come to town managers and everybody's attention that there's quite a, it has to take quite a lot for it to go into executive session. And that most everything can be discussed in public meeting.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't post one or put it on the agenda.
So I would encourage you, I say that with a little anxiety, to discuss it during the open session here if you choose. So the major thing, the thing here we've talked about, legal connections are essentially any connection that's been made that hasn't been properly processed, right, isn't a legal connection. And I'm sure it's more than, I'm sure in detail, it's more than probably just connections into the main line. Essentially anything that should have had a permit and fees paid or not, should have come to the, to the sewer commission, but didn't and was done anyway, isn't a legal connection. And I don't know how many months ago now, but the fines for illegal connections are as much as $5,000 a day. So it can be
Can be
quite
expensive.
onerous.
That little silver lever.
Exactly right, yes. And we did have one illegal connection not so long ago, and as a result of that and this sort of the wanting to have a little more refinement on the $5,000 a day, we, after discussion and discussion with council, we set up policy where the minimum fine for an illegal connection would be $5,000. Because it's at the discretion of the board, but we wanted some uniformity and some consistency applied. So we decided that any illegal connection would have a minimum fine of $5,000, but it could be as high as $5,000 a day. So what we're concerned about is that there may be other illegal connections out there that people may or may not even be aware of, and they may have a time bomb ticking. So what we discussed, and there was support for, but we have yet to launch, was the concept of having some amnesty program that would encourage people, because we're not so interested in getting $5,000 fines as we are in getting people
People will hook up.
to hook up above table and to pay their fair share of the processing of the sewerage that they're putting into the system. So that's really the goal, not collecting fines. So in that light, what we felt was would be good would be to encourage people to come forward and provide some amnesty period where people could come forward with no fine, get clean and get on the system and start participating in the funding of the system. So what I'd like to do tonight is just have some discussion on that and get that kicked off, because we have yet to do that, so we can move forward.
I think for clarification on that is, if you come forward to us with this issue, you realize you're not getting a sewer bill and you're approaching us, you're not getting caught. You haven't been found out, because if you're found out, it's a whole different story. It's not amnesty anymore. So that's just for clarification.
Yeah,
there.
no, I
It's-
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'm totally in support of the amnesty program that we want to institute, but this also goes with sub pumps. If you have an illegal sump pump put into our sewer lines anywhere, it's just as bad. And again, that's causing a great deal of I&I. And I know we're committed for this board to start doing again when the rains come in the fall, to start looking for illegal connections again. And I also know that we open up a chain of communication with the Board of Health, so we will be checking.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a good point, Dave, because there's a link here even back to the beginning of this meeting on the I&I, because in order to reduce the I&I, we are going to get aggressive in terms of where the flows are coming from. So we will start looking, cameraing and looking into pipes, and this is where we may start bumping into things. Things may also come from the Board of Health to our attention, which is the case we had before. But as I said, it's a broad brush. It's not just, did you connect to the system illegally? It's any illegal connection, and a sump pump is an illegal connection. I would assume, and if I were in a situation I would err on the safe side, I would assume that if somehow an extra building has been connected to your line, that's an illegal connection. Illegal connection is a very broad term and a very serious issue now. And again, we will, in order to get rid of I&I, we are going to be taking a very hard look at where and accounting for all of the flow to Leominster and Fitchburg, and where is it really coming from. And this is how we may indeed find some illegal connections, and we would rather have the people come forward, to Mike's point, have people come forward, please, and we just take care of it, and there's no fine involved. But if we find out through any other means, then the fines will be applied, and will be applied uniformly.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a recommendation too for the citizens at home and for the press, if you're in doubt that you have sewer, if you buy a house today and you're in doubt, call Barbara, call the town hall. Let's do it right. We'll be glad to come out and assist you. But if you know you have town sewer, and as Mike just said, you're not getting a bill, there's something wrong.
Right.
And if you're the owner of the house and the legal connection is there, then you're responsible for that. Or if you buy a house in auction or from the bank as far as foreclosure, you're responsible. So I think we should make that clear as well.
Perfect.
But as far as the dates for the embassy, when you propose to do that, effective tonight, for a month, for a year?
I'd like to get it going so that it's clean, give the people enough time. So I would just soon start tonight if we could have a vote on tonight and how long. I think some of the details of how we reach out to people. So I'd like to have it be a reasonable period, 60, 90 days or something, so that we could do some mailings, maybe put some things in the papers.
Well, we can do more than one amnesty. You can do one now and another one later. Why don't we do I propose we do a 90-day amnesty to see how it works out. If we need more time, we'll extend it.
Well, I think our programs are going to be starting up in the fall, and I agree with Butch, if we go 90 days effective tonight, and get it out in the local ledger, and let's clean it up. And like I said, we're there to help the citizens, not hurt them. And that's why we're doing this amnesty. It's just to let's get the pass going and try to cut down that I&I, which everyone's going to be paying for eventually, as you saw tonight with the ordinances from Leominster. So, and I want to thank you and the board for considering the amnesty. I think it's a good program for people.
Good. I Butch, appreciate your input. I think that makes a lot of sense
Well,
as well.
it's just, if we don't get started, we'll never happen.
Right.
We'd still be talking about our pool fences.
Yeah. Well, and if we don't get started, then and
Is our pool policy all set?
we could revisit that. Okay. So do I have a motion?
I made a motion, that's what I
That was the
went with
motion? Okay. That we have an amnesty for
Looking for a second.
3 months.
Through those dates
I mean,
then would be what?
The end of October is essentially what it would be, right? I mean,
August, September, and October, yeah. From, we'll say,
Effective
what,
August
August
1st.
2nd tomorrow to 31 days in October, October 31st.
yeah, it's good to have a nice clean date. So the end of
Yeah.
October.
So 8/1 through 10/31?
Sounds
That's the
good.
proposal. That's the motion.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. So again, please come forward. Take a look. Maybe you don't even know that there is an issue. If you're not getting a sewer bill and you believe you're on sewer, there's an issue. It's not included in your water bill, that's for sure. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Okay. Weston and Sampson contract. This is all done but the signing, huh?
Yes. Yep, he adjusted
It
the
say
rates
remove
as
it.
you had requested.
Mr. Chair, the only question I had at the last meeting on page 2, yeah, page 2, was the breakdown of their hours. Did we ask for something different? I thought Mr. Nault asked for,
They were going to update that, right?
weren't they
The
gonna-
hourly rate, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were gonna give us a
He
fixed
changed
rate,
it from a range to a
fixed
to a
rate.
solid.
Was it arranged before? I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah.
I just thought, yeah, okay, that's what,
Yeah.
Mike, is that what you requested? Mr. Nault?
Actually, I believe it was Jay's
Yeah, I
request.
think I
Jay,
requested
is-
that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jay, Jay, is that what you requested?
Yes, a fixed rate versus the range.
Okay.
And,
And they complied with what you wanted?
yes, was Steve,
Then I
was
make
at the
a
last
motion we
meeting?
move their contract through.
A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anything we need to sign, Barbara?
Yes, sorry. And it's just for you, actually. I think it's just one signature. 2 times 1
Two times.
original for each of us.
Got all quiet in here.
We're running out of things to do.
It's a good thing.
We're not on commercial break?
We'll be back right after.
We're waiting, yeah,
We
we're
have the
waiting
message from our
for the
sponsors.
referee to... Great, okay. We have a contract.
All right.
2 contracts, 1 night.
Imagine that.
Huh? We're moving. Good thing you're back, Butch. We're getting a lot more done now.
Highfield Village.
Highfield Village. Okay, this relates, and this is linked to the Fitchburg IMA, or Highfield Village was requested the allocation.
Yeah.
We've been working on an agreement with them. They've drafted one, which was very good. It was very, very close to acceptable. Worked with council just on, I think, two major things. One was,
You don't need to vote on it then.
no, hopefully just an update. We did send them a letter and a revised agreement. And the letter just highlighted the differences in the agreement. And basically, the differences were to address the INI, because
Very
what
good.
we're getting from Fitchburg is what we're sending to them, not what we're allocating. And therefore, the cap, the dollar figure cap was increased somewhat just to cover that. And we did send that letter on the 23rd, and
I have not heard anything.
nothing back? Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I want to thank you and Jay for working with this. I know they asked for an extension, and I think the planning board gave them extension until the 12th maybe. That has nothing to do with us. I think we should make it clear that whatever extension the planning board is doing has nothing to do with this negotiations that you guys did. And if, once this is approved, I'd feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So, thank you for,
Yeah, it's a good
for
point.
doing this.
Oh, yeah,
Where they go from there is none of our concern.
yeah, exactly. Okay.
I'm going to move that chair.
And,
Right down there?
so we haven't heard from them. In the Fitchburg IMA, there's been no activity. Joe Jordan is keeping us updated, but they've had some other issues that have sidetracked this whole thing, which is not okay, because I'd like to get it closed, but getting this Highfield agreement signed is very important, because we either put that in or not into the Fitchburg agreement. We don't want to put it in and then have to pay for it ourselves.
Mr. Chair, have we heard how Fitchburg's doing with their conversions? Have they started on Summer Street yet? I know they're going all through the city. There's new sewer pipes everywhere in Fitchburg.
I'm not aware of them starting, I haven't been down to John Fitch, but I'm not aware of them starting any construction. I think they've gotten distracted with some other issues.
I haven't
Okay.
seen nothing dug anywhere.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they have, because we haven't even seen the final engineering cost estimates or anything else, so. Just dragging
Unless
on.
it's, I mean, do we know what phase that's in? Because I know they're working like hell right now in Fitchburg.
Well, and I think, maybe that's what, because this is, I mean, this, it sounds like maybe you're referring to the separation
Yes.
activity, right? Which John Fitch is not part of. So they're two completely separate things. John Fitch has just
The news.
increased the capacity. At the separation, I think, is what's,
No,
more
they're
activity
doing a
than
great
they-
job. It's just, that's a big city to separate.
yes. Yeah. And they're not, and I think they have agreements with the state that they're not going to 100% separate it. They're going to do what makes sense, so. Because that, as you know, in
Well, I don't
your
think they
business,
can
that last
afford-
10% costs you a
I don't
fortune.
think they can afford to do 100%.
Exactly right, exactly
Yeah.
right. There's no payback in it.
They'll go by the way of Detroit bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, administrative matters?
Administrative matters. 4 Richards Way had submitted, after the agenda got posted, a request. A final read had been delivered to him. I think I sent it down as a new handout. Looks like that, Todd Rivers, Inc. He was billed because, everybody got it, right?
Show David what it looked like.
It's on the back of that.
Oh,
Yeah, the facts.
Anyway, he was billed, it's a new construction, and I had provided a final read. They were selling the property, so a final read was done, and it was substantial, even, Lunenburg Water
You want this
Department.
signed?
Nope.
No, for reference.
Oh, what sign? What are we talking about? So anyway, he was just, came as a total shock. He does not have an irrigation meter. It was just by a hose. He was watering a new lawn, and it jumped up the water usage, so he's looking for a credit. And I said I would bring it up at the meeting. So,
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may ask Barb, how do we handle that in the Bass, Barb?
You know what?
How have we handled that in the past?
Oh,
Remember? Mr. Chair, as far as if he left the faucet on, that's,
yeah, I know, these get frustrating to me, because they just keep popping up, and I don't understand. In the past, we've looked at history, right?
right,
To be able to,
this is brand new.
but this is brand new, so there's no
Right.
history to look at.
Right,
Um,
and his point is it was for a lawn, so and it did not go in the pipes.
So this is the builder of the new home?
This is the builder and the owner of the property that built it.
What does he want?
Credit.
Because he left the water on.
He was watering a lawn. He was watering new seed.
Well, I hope the lawn looks good. But he should pay. I mean, we've got rules and regulations out there.
Yep.
Is he, and I don't know if
1
this is
month.
actually relevant or not, but is he not familiar with Lunenburg and the sewer?
No,
Building and
he's
system,
done
or-
a lot of building down in that area. That's Richards Way, Macefield.
how much are we talking dollar-wise?
Well, if it's new construction and no one's been in the home, it would probably be 194 for 2 minimum charges, one for the regular billing quarter and then for the portion before the sale. So it's about $1,400 he's looking for forgiveness on.
And we're not being forgiven from Fitchburg, right? Or from the water district?
We could be, right? I mean, you've been fairly successful with Leominster in cases like this.
Yeah, well, right, yeah, if it turns out that it really didn't go in the pipes,
Right.
we could. This has not gone even through it because it's currently to be
Like I
built.
said, I think our policy, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but our policy in the past, ever since we had this come up, was if they left the faucet on, they left the faucet on. That's,
Yeah.
Do we know I guess it's not clear if the house was occupied. In other words, was there an occupancy permit on the house? I mean, it would just, I mean, obviously clarification there would be that this, you know, the sewer wasn't used. And I mean, if we can be rebated the money, in this case, you know, there wasn't an occupancy on the house. If there was an occupancy on the house, now that's a little more of a gray area, but I mean,
Well, I mean, I would say, if you get the money back from Lemus if they're not using the water, then we won't charge them
if
the
we
sewer.
can, right, for in other words, if we can get it back, there was no occupancy, it was just under construction, so obviously it wasn't occupied yet, and we can get the money back, I guess I have no problem with it.
Yeah, but at some time, we've got to stop
I understand.
giving them their money back
I
because
understand.
they did something without any thought process.
I mean, if he goes to Lemuser and says, listen, this is what he did, and Lemuser said, we're not gonna charge you for the water, then we can't charge him for the sewer. But if we get charged for the sewer because of the water consumption, our hands are tied. I mean, we would end up paying that sewer.
Yeah.
And as a contractor, I would think he would know that.
Well, we would
contractor, you should
normally-
know all the rules.
We would be the ones that would go to Leominster, though, right? Or has this, what state is this in?
It has not gone to
It hasn't even gone to
Leominster
Leominster yet, so it's not a matter of a credit. 'Cause we tell Leominster how much water was used. And we haven't reported Leominster the water usage
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, if there was a meter, just as the example, I mean, if there was a separate meter, then we would not submit that to Leominster.
Right.
What was
In this
his
case, if it
excuse,
wasn't,
Barbara, for not knowing the rules? What was his excuse for not knowing the rules?
None. I mean,
None.
he just said if he knew it was going to be that expensive, he would have bought the sod.
You would have what?
Bought sod as opposed to trying to water the seed.
Oh, yeah, sod would have been a lot cheaper than paying for water. I'm sure.
You know, the only question I have, Mr. Chair, that's just a lot of money. What's the period from 1 month?
It's the amount of water,
Yeah, but what are we talking dollar-wise?
$1,600.
$1,600.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
12,000
But it's
gallons.
13,000 cubic feet of water.
Again, how big's this lawn that he's watering? The size of, I mean, is it big?
Probably a football field.
Yeah, is it a football field? I mean, that's just a lot of water.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
But it's not occupied, right? I mean, that's clear.
It's just sold. This was
sold, so-
this was for the closings. The closing was on the 17th, or the 29th. That's right, it was yesterday's closing.
29th, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's clear it didn't go into the sewer. Right, there's nobody in the house. But, you know, a builder who's built in Lunenburg and, you know, should know these things. I mean, quite frankly, he should have probably put a separate meter in, right?
Yeah, he
As
should have
building
put
a house,
He should have
right?
put we allow him to do that, so.
Yeah, right. We encourage it. We have policies that allow it. Why,
I mean, I know it's been hot. I know there's a lot of water. I know every citizen's using a lot of water over the last heat wave that we had. It's just, you know, we got to stop it somewhere.
Right.
I mean, and that's why if we call Lemuser and say it's for watering a lawn, I guess what I'm trying to say, I wish he could do it. It's his bill. We're the end user here. We're getting billed for the sewer based upon water consumption. So if we use a lot of water, I guess my question is, why would we have to go back to Lemuser and say this guy built a house and used the water?
yeah, no, maybe I wasn't clear. Leominster is only aware of water because we tell them. So we would not report this water to Leominster because it did not go into the sewer.
What if they're watching?
If we
out
decide
there
not to
tonight?
credit.
If that's our decision.
Decide
I mean, you could treat this that since it wasn't occupied, essentially his 1 meter was his irrigation meter. So it was all irrigation, right? Maybe a couple flushes, but, so on that technical side, I think it's pretty safe and clean. There's no,
Well, we don't know if he had an occupancy permit, right?
oh, we did.
I was just looking, I think to have.
A simple call to the building
Not
inspector will
received it.
straighten that out.
The home has been vacant and is closing on Wednesday, the 31st. But it's more I'm more concerned about the message, you know. I think the
Yeah.
technicality is easy to deal with, but if we just keep, especially builders, I mean, they should
If
know
we just
better.
keep giving them their money back, nobody's gonna care.
50% rule,
50% rule?
50%
We got a
rule.
new rule.
Propose your rule.
You know, Mr. Chair, no,
You only
go
give
go
it
ahead.
back 50%?
Mr. Chair, I would
Burdens on
recommend that
them.
we table this, let the contractor come back and show us when the purchase was sold, let him do some history if he's looking for that kind of credit. I mean, just looking at it on the face, listen, I know he probably,
Contractor's looking for the credit, right?
yeah, but I would say let the contractor come to
Let him
Bob
come before us
Yeah.
and ask for it.
and just say the house was sold here, this, we have no idea when the house was closed or, you know, and I hate writing a check to somebody that, you know, they could have been living in there for a month, who knows? I mean, the CO is a CO, and I just like to see some documentation when the house was turned over to a residential, and then we'll take a look at the water bill. I think that's the fairest thing to do. But just to come back and say, I don't want to pay the bill, that's not nice.
I'm in
The sense of the
agreement
board?
with- I'm in agreement with that.
Yep. I like that. So we should invite him in to
Okay.
build his case.
I tried to get him to come. He had another meeting tonight, so he couldn't come.
When do we report this to Leominster?
It has to go pretty soon, like
Before our
before the next
meeting?
meeting, yeah. We can
Well,
do it, I mean,
I don't
usually
think it should be reported to Leominster anyhow.
it has, well,
Because once you report it, we gotta pay it. Now you got a whole different process to get a credit.
yeah.
Unless we
that's
do
all right,
this,
as long
Mr.
as we
Chair,
credit.
let him bring his information to Barbara, talk to you, and I would back whatever decision you want to make on it, if you have to do it before that. It's just that I think,
We'll back you if we agree with it.
well, I mean, I have no problem and confidence in what you're going to do, but I think the message out there should be, I think as a board and as a commission, we've been very lenient with people, and we still will be. We know the economic times are tough. But for a contractor to come and say, I want $1,400 credit because I left the water on water and grass, doesn't buy it by me.
He's selling the house. That's why he had the sprinkler on. He wanted it to look good.
At the end of the day, he may be right. You know, I'm not saying he's not right. It's
Lots
just,
to do in business, too.
that would be my recommendation.
Okay with that? If that makes sense? Because it would be, we should clean this up before we go to Leominster, because Butch is
Yeah,
right. Once you
yeah,
go to
that's
Leominster,
right,
it's-
yeah.
Now, if there was a closing, is this bill paid in full now?
He was going to process the check, and if a credit is due, I'll work with him on that.
Because I would assume that's part of the closing, right?
They needed to pay this.
Okay, all right, so can you
He's gonna
set that
come
up
talk
and let
to
me know?
me and then provide
Get a hold of me,
information. Okay.
I'm around.
Yeah, I mean, even if you call and explain, it's just,
Okay. And then we should discuss the 50% rule in the future here.
Time to adjourn?
Getting darn close now.
Getting close.
Where's,
more.
All right, sorry. Permits to connect, we've been getting a few lately. We've up to 7 received since our last meeting.
Good.
Where?
4 on Riley Road in Stone Farm. The one on Oak Ave, 8865 Mass Ave, Obashan Realty, the little strip mall, just submitted it today, and 27 Hillside today. So,
we're making progress
Good for
there.
them. They get under the wire before our,
Yeah.
Colorado.
yeah, I know, I know. 88 Oak Ave, the lateral was installed, the cost to hook up, to
Yeah.
put a stub in there, and it was $1,971. That will go against that project fund. So, it's not bad. Hollis Hills, there is no update. I did check with Carrie, she was checking with council, so they're waiting on word also. Rules and regs, it kind of just got put on hold with the RFP and with billing, and I never did get, you said you had corrections, Dave?
We went over them.
A while back, but then at the last meeting, you said you had looked it over and
Right,
so,
at the DPW, remember we went through, there was, I can't remember the paragraph. There were some spacing issues. Remember I showed you the pages at the office? I
Okay,
can
I'll look
read
again.
through it. Look at the, I'll send them over to you.
Yeah,
But
thank you. But otherwise, I plan, Jeff Blake and I will
You
kinda
took care of the
finalize
part.
it.
we took care of the part about everything is self-contained in Lunenburg. That was the concern that we had.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we fixed that.
Yep,
And then the last thing was really just spell check.
Spacing.
The spacing on some of the categories. Otherwise, I thought we were ready to go. I thought we voted on that. That was all set.
we are waiting on council's changes. He's
Right, but,
reviewing.
That's what I'm saying.
We
I thought,
we had approved it to go
yes. We,
to council, that we had accepted everything had been done with Weston and Sampson and whatever. Then it goes to council, came back. He's still working on insurance levels. We're working on the project review bylaw or policy. So there's a couple things still.
right, but before we sent that out for final review, we did review it. That's what I was trying to say. We fixed all the problems, and then we said, okay, let's give
Yeah.
this to the, so as far as I'm concerned, I thought we're done. with-
Yeah, I thought we were, but I thought you had said the last meeting you had seen something you didn't.
That was before I went to the attorneys, because we said, let's clean this up before we send it for the final, because I think you sent it to the selectmen maybe, or you sent it to somebody else. Did you send it to somebody else?
I don't think so, not yet, council
That's left
mostly.
council.
You may want to send a copy of it to Mr. Ebersol, who's our liaison, to let him look at it.
Where is he tonight?
Yeah, I may have sent it to
You
him.
abandoned us already.
At home.
Anyway, so that's in the process. I'm working hard to I'm trying very hard to get the bills out. Grease trap, another letter went out to 165 Mass Ave just to make sure that we're gonna get a grease trap in there that we want, that meets the code. OT sheets, we had 2 in the package and then 1 more tonight, and that may be mostly it. We're getting to the end of that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, Barbara, on the 165 Mass Ave, there's been a building permit issued?
There's a permit issued,
Building permit.
but the building department is aware that no occupancy will be issued until they meet.
Until
The
the
requirements of-
DPW director signs off. Okay. What was their opening date, do we know?
I don't know.
September 2nd.
Is it?
Just says coming soon.
Coming soon, yeah.
Opening soon.
And that was it for me. Just that the next
Grease
meeting is the
trap.
13th of August at the DPW.
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
could, to back up what Barbara says, as far as the DPW overtime sheets, these will be replaced now going forward with reports from our new vendors. Is that what we're going to be getting? We're still,
See when they went
right.
out.
Yes.
We should be.
Yeah, that would be nice to know.
So I would assume during the month, we'll start getting there.
Yeah.
And again, I know you and Jack are working on the reporting of the new company.
Yeah, Debbie had mentioned she's gonna give us some samples. We'll give them some, maybe of the original old activity reports, see if we can work on something.
And this will all be electronic.
Yes,
Nice.
please, please, please.
So, if
That's
there's
it for
nothing
me.
else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Good man.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you
Aye,
all
aye,
very
aye.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us.
TV
Good
land.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Chet.
We're still on the air, people.